Hey gang, just wanted to do a short follow-up to my paddock weed eating video earlier this morning. We had some rain early and I knew it was going to be sunnier later on in the day and warm, so that's one of the reasons why I started so early. The other reason I started early was because we had rain. What does that have to do with anything? Well, it rained overnight, so that meant that the plants were going to be have a little bit more moisture in them. It would have absorbed moisture, and the moisture would have come up, and that means that these are going to be more readily able to be cut and cut clean and a little faster. The other thing I wanted to point out, I don't think I mentioned in the first video, is if you notice you've got the fence there and the fence there. I started at that corner and worked that way and then back and forth. Why did I do that? Well, number one, principally, look at what we're looking at. That part of the paddock is all in the sun right now. That part of the paddock has already all been weed-eated. Basically, the entire paddock has, with the exception of just a few feet left. Where I'm standing, that's what precipitated this video. And I'll get to that in just a moment. But yeah, this upright area here where the trough and you can see where the seed heads are right here, that's the last little bit. So I've been able to weed eat probably 90% of this paddock in the shade. When it's 80 degrees and 90% humidity, that's really a nice thing. So when I say who, what, where, when, and why, that's part of it. Why did I do it this early in the morning? It was cooler and we had rain. Why did I start in that corner? Because that's where it was going to get sunny first. And it just so happens that I'll get the last little bit of shade perhaps. Would have gotten a little bit more probably if I hadn't taken the time for doing these videos, but that's okay. That's what they're here for. So this area that we're looking here, you don't see any grass. This is an old burn scar that the chickens have continued to use to scratch. And it was a burn scar that I burned a bunch of stuff. And so the grass has never really taken hold. You can see this is one of their favorite dust bathing bins. Also, I wanted to point out, I think they call them dragon thistle. If you know the proper name, let me know, but please don't hold me too accountable for it. But there's a number of them all through here, and they are an initiator species. They're all through here. There's been some of these thistles throughout the paddock, not too many. Usually just like, one here or one in the middle of a patch of grass, and then you won't see one. What I have done in terms of a weed eating technique is, if I'm coming through here and I'm doing this on the grass and I see there's that thistle, number one, I don't necessarily want to kill it. Why not? Because it's a pioneer species. It has a huge, let me repeat, it has a huge taproot that goes down. What's going to happen when I cut that thing off? That taproot's going to die back. It's going to put that carbon in the ground. It's going to aerate and increase the porosity and permeability of the soil, make it open it up to more air, make it take more water. So how am I going to cut that so it's not going to mess with the grass around it, but still do what I want it to do? Well, it's starting to go to bloom, and I really don't want it to multiply. So what I'm going to do is, instead of taking the weed eater and doing like this, like I do with the grass, I'm going to take the weed eater and do it vertically. And I'm just going to do a couple of vertical passes over that. That's going to get rid of the bloom. It's going to get rid of all of the leaves. And it's going to kill all of the soft stem and get rid of it. Okay? But it's not necessarily going to kill it, but it's probably going to keep it from reproducing this season. So now let's come back over here to the burn scar. Well, there's a bunch. Here's one of the pullets. Hi, sweetie pie. You hear me talking and you just want to find out what's going on, right? Boy, she's going after the seeds. So what I'm going to do is through this area, and I don't know that it's necessary to show you, but you know, the string sticks out about 4 inches. So you come down on it and you just hover on it over the ground. So that's not going to damage or do anything to the grass around these plants. It's not, as long as you're paying attention. And you can come in, even in a situation like this, where you've got the thistle right in there with some Dutch clover. You don't want to mess with the Dutch clover. You can just come down and just do a little doodle and damage the thistle enough to set it back. And so it's a way of culling, if you want to think of it that way. And so I only have a couple of minutes worth of work over there. So I'm just going to take a few minutes and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to kind of cull some of these thistles. And then I got one little patch of seed heads right there. And then I'm going to do the last little bit right there, and we are done with this chore for the morning. And what I was hoping was going to happen is happening, and that is the birds now are going in and they're feeding on the ground instead of overhead. And so they'll do a little tilling, and they'll be able to eat a lot more seed. And a lot more seed will get down to the ground, because as they scratch, some of the seed that's up above the ground is going to get in contact with the ground. So it's so cool the way God and nature puts everything together. So with that, gang, I'm fixing to fire up my weed eater and startle these pullets a little bit. But that's who's over here. These are the 6 pullets, and those 3, and then this one that I got from my friend Liz. So they've got a zip tie on their right ankle. So we've changed them out, and so now they're big enough so it shouldn't restrict. That way I know that white is, in beekeeping parlance, white is the year for a queen in 1 or 6. So I just put a black one on. So black means that these are 26 birds. And next time I bring in some other birds, I'll do a different color zip tie, or just switch it to the left leg. Who knows? So with that, gang, we will wish you blessings for the day. And these birds are going to scatter. It's all good. Till then, whatever you do, blessings for the day, and just keep chasing the dream.